The things that take you 40 minutes in Excel, sorting, filtering, cleaning messy data, Python does it in minutes. And when your analysis becomes more complex, SQL becomes limiting while Python doesn't. If you're new to this channel, hi, my name is Karina. I went from finance to data analytics completely on my own. No degree, no connections. I've made some mistakes on my way so you don't have to. In this video, I'm going to give you a 90-day Python roadmap, what to learn each month, what to skip, and where people waste time. Let's get into it. If you Google "learn Python," you might get overwhelmed. And it's not because Python is hard. Python is not one thing. The same programming language that was used to create threads by Instagram can be used to build machine learning models and games like tic-tac-toe or chess, but it also can be used to analyze millions of rows of data. This video is specifically about Python for data analytics, not app development or software engineering. This means we are going to focus on a very specific subset of what Python can do: reading data, cleaning it, exploring it, visualizing, and finding patterns in it. You don't need to know how to build an app. You don't need to understand object-oriented programming. You need to know how to work with data. And this is much shorter path. So let's start with the very beginning. To work with Python, you need to install Python on your computer as well as IDE or integrated development environment. Or you can use terminal to write code. To be honest, I find it very intimidating to work with a terminal as a beginner. That's why my recommendation is to use Google Colab. It is free, it runs in your browser, and it requires zero installation, so you will not face any issues, permission problems with installing Python and IDE on your machine. Just Google Colab, sign in with your Google account, and open a new notebook. That's the environment. Everything you need is already there. You can come back to local setup later, but for now, Colab is all you need to start. Before we write code, I want you to understand one thing. Python reads almost like English. It was designed to be readable. That's quite unusual because most programming languages look like noise to a non-programmer, while Python doesn't. The other thing we need to discuss is data types. Every piece of data in Python has a type, and Python needs to know what type it's working with before it can do anything with it. The main ones you will use in data analytics are numbers, either integers or floats. Integer is number 42, while float is 42.5. Another data type is strings, which is a text written inside of quotes, single quotes or double quotes, it doesn't matter. And the next data type is booleans, which are simply true or false. When you upload a dataset, you need to check data types, because if you have a column called unit price and it is a string, which is a text, you can't sum it up or do any calculation with it. And because of that, we will need to convert that to a number to perform those calculations. That's why data types are important, as many errors you might encounter are because of these problems with data types. Every Python script in history starts the same way. Open your Colab notebook and type this: print, brackets, in the brackets, in single quotes or double quotes, type a text. And we will type hello, world. I think every Python tutorial in the world has this part where you are printing hello world. Printing is telling Python to display the text. And as a mother of 10 months old, I have this book which says hello world, and every time I look at it I smile, because instead of thinking about frog, I'm thinking about coding. So to execute your code, you need to hit the play button or run button, and that's it. That's your first win. It sounds simple, but it's not. You just told the computer to do something and it did it. For me, when I did this for the first time, I was like, wow, my life will never be the same. If you're a Python beginner and you're wondering what do I practice next to actually get good at Python, this is exactly why I like DataCamp. I've partnered with them for this video because it's built around active learning. You write code in the browser, get instant feedback, and keep moving instead of getting stuck bouncing between random tutorials. I've been recommending DataCamp for a while. For beginners, the best fit is their Python Data Fundamentals track. It gives you a structured path from core Python into the skills that actually matter for data work. Pandas for manipulating data, Seaborn for visualization, and statistics for analyzing results results properly. Lessons are short enough to fit around a busy schedule, and from day one you are solving exercises and working on real projects, which is the fastest way to make Python stick. And if you want something concrete to show for your progress, the track also prepares you for DataCamp's Python Data Associate certification, so you can prove you can use Python for real-world data analysis. If you want a clear, hands-on roadmap from Python beginner to job ready, click the link in the description. So things to learn in week 1 are variables, collections, and basic operations. A variable is a named container for a value. For example, name equals Karina, experience equals 12, is hiring equal false. In this example, I gave you 3 data types. One is a string, one is an integer, and one is Boolean. So with this, you're telling Python, store this, give it a name, and I will use it later. I will reference it later somewhere in my script. Collections are how Python groups multiple values together. For example, one of the collections is a list. A list is an ordered collection. It has an order. So skills equals square brackets, SQL, Excel, Python. And you can add an element to your list. You can loop through it, pull items out by telling a position. Another collection is a dictionary. It stores key value pairs like a lookup table. Analyst equals curly brackets, name Karina, city Abu Dhabi. And it is incredibly useful when you're working with structured data. You can see that list has square brackets while dictionary has curly brackets. That's one of the ways to see the difference. Another collection is a set, and it is an ordered collection, unlike list, which list was ordered and set is unordered. And it has no duplicates. That's why it's useful when you need to find unique values fast. When I talk about basic operations, I'm referring to arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Also, comparison operations are important, and I mean greater than, less than, equal to, not equal to. These are building blocks of every condition and calculation you will ever write. Your win for week 1, open Google Colab, type out each of these from scratch, change the values, break something on purpose, and fix it. My suggestion for week 2 is, first of all, control flow. If-else statements. If the condition is true, do this, otherwise do that. I always suggest data analysts to learn Excel and SQL before Python. So at that point, you're already familiar with the logic of if-else statement or case-when statement. Next one is for loops. In that case, you go through every item in a list and do something with each of those items. Next one is while loops, and you repeat an action until condition changes. So while I equals 10 or while it's more than 0, keep repeating something. And another thing is basic functions, which lets you package a block of code so you can reuse it without rewriting it. When I was learning Python, I was working on a project analyzing text, and I needed my code to go through each word and check if the condition is true, and if it's true, do something with the text. I used loop for that, and it felt like magic. The fact that computer does something analyzing this massive data set and just quickly pulls the information I need. Mind-blowing. One of the common exercises for loops is to print a pyramid. It is a fun way to see how loop works, and if you can't grasp the concept of loops, I have a separate video about it where we use debugger to step through each line of code again and again to see how it prints. Hopefully it helps loops to click. Another thing you need to learn at this stage is also a concept of libraries and modules in Python, because you will be working with different libraries, installing it into your environment. Week 3 and 4 are about consolidation and getting comfortable with what you learned. Write small programs that use variables, collections, loops, and functions together. It will help you to practice and to grasp all these concepts. Find exercises on W3 schools. For example, take a list of numbers and write a function that calculates the average, or take a dictionary and write a loop that prints every key and value. You can also ask AI to help you creating those home tasks to practice your skills. By the end of month 1, you understand how Python thinks, you can write basic logic and functions, and you can combine them into something that works. You're not fast at that point, that's fine. Month 2 is where you start using these foundations on real dataset. Month 2 has one focus, Pandas. This is a Python library for data work. Almost every data analytics task you do in Python will go through Pandas in some shape or form. A full month on it is not long. In my opinion, it's exactly right. There are other libraries to work with data like Polars and DuckDB. They are much faster on bigger data sets, but Pandas is still the default library and you need to learn it. You will also gradually learn other libraries like visualization ones, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly, as well as NumPy, but we will start with Pandas. Start with the official Pandas documentation at pandas.pydata.org. The getting started section is okay, the other sections might be a bit confusing. Use W3 schools for quick syntax reference. And for structured walkthrough on a real dataset, I have an introduction to Pandas video linked below that might help you with it. Week 1 of month 2 is getting data into Python and understanding what you have. Reading a CSV file into data frame, running df.head, dfinfo, dfdescribe. These 3 lines tell you the shape of your data, the column types, and the basic statistics. You will run them on every single dataset for the rest of your data career. Sounds a bit sad. Week 2 is selecting and cleaning, pulling out the columns you need, filtering to only the rows that meet a specific condition, handling missing values, finding them, deciding whether to drop them or fill them in with a specific value. Week 3 is aggregating and combining, grouping data and calculating summaries. For example, you can calculate total sales by region or average spend by customer segment, or maybe transaction count by months. Merging 2 datasets together on a shared column. This is the Pandas equivalent of group by and join in SQL and lookup in Excel. Week 4 is visualization. Use Matplotlib, Seaborn or Plotly to create basic charts like a bar chart, a line chart, a map, a donut chart, or even a pie chart. I know it's a bit controversial in data world, but you need to know how to create it. Then take a dataset from Kaggle and do a complete analysis. Load it, clean it, answer 3 questions, visualize the results, write 2 paragraphs summarizing what you found. That will be your month 2 project. The earlier you start practicing is the better. By the end of month 2, you can take a raw dataset, clean it, analyze it, and produce something that answers a real business question. And I would say it's not a beginner task, it's already intermediate level task. Congratulations! If you passed month 2, you are already ahead of 99% of people who quit. Month 3 is about closing the gap between what you've learned and what is actually useful in working life. Look for the task you do regularly in Excel or SQL that takes too long, a report that you rebuild every week, a dataset you clean manually every month. Pick one and rebuild it in Python. I will also suggest you to find SQL queries that you work with and try to replicate it in Python and see how easily it is transition from one tool to another. Also, if you sign up to my newsletter, I have a lot of cheat sheets and some of them show how you transition from Excel to SQL to Python. It's free. Sign up and have a look at it. The project to build by the end of month 3 is an end-to-end analysis on a dataset from your target industry. So if you want to work for finance or retail, find a dataset that is related to that industry and work on it. Load it, clean it, answer business questions, visualize the output, and write a short summary of what you found and what would you recommend. What is the next steps for the business? Put it on a GitHub, put it on LinkedIn. It doesn't need to be impressive, it needs to be complete. A finished, readable project is worth more than 10 half-finished projects, and I keep saying it all the time. Speaking about sharing your work publicly, do it. I know it doesn't feel comfortable, it feels exposing when you're still learning, but do it anyway. The feedback you will get from posting an imperfect project publicly is worth more than another month of private practice if you're open to hear feedback. Also, you're dealing with cringe factor and it's good for you. And it's brave. The things that people skip in month 3 that they regret later is learning how to write clean code. It's a transition from writing a code that runs and being impressed by that to writing a code that lasts. That's very dramatic. What I mean, you will learn how to add comments to your code, so 6 months later you know why you did this filter, why you added this line of code. Or you can create some readable variable names, because initially when you start you call every data frame df and df2 and the final df, use this one. You need to learn how to call variables properly, something like sales by country or monthly sales. It's also about learning how to work with Markdown, so you can turn your code, just simply code, into a finished workbook that has introduction, summary, comments, and some structure. By the end of month 3, you have a portfolio piece, a repeatable workflow, and the confidence to learn whatever your job needs next. Python is no longer something you are learning. At that point, it's something you use. And all I want is for you to build confidence in those 90 days that you can do it, that it's not something terrifying, unfamiliar, rocket science, that Python is just a tool, just a language. And before I let you go, if you want to do this with structure and accountability, join the SQL and Python challenge linked in the description, or scan the QR code on your screen. You will get the datasets with over 10 million rows, which is a big data, real analytical tasks, full solutions, a portfolio project template, and a bonus project to work on. So here is what we covered today. Month 1, foundation, setup, core syntax, daily practice. Month 2, real data, cleaning, analysis, small automations. Month 3, your job, one portfolio project made with Python in hours instead of days. If you're wondering what is the next step to actually practice Python right way, I recommend this video next.